I've got a pattern, and I'm starting to use it to apply to the lower part of the leg. And this will be to set my taper. And so if you'll use the square corner to do one side, and if you'll grow about 14 hands, and excuse me, I'll have to hold it down here to make the curve, and then I'll trace it. Now I'm going to just flip it over, and I can use it on the other side, and I can trace it. All right, now I've got my pattern laid out. That line's a little weak right there, but I can see it. Make it a little stronger here, and see if I can hold it down with my newly grown hands. Sure, I've got enough lead there. Now I got enough. All right, so now I can either sand this, or I can use a rasp, or I can use a grinder to take this down. Whatever I have the most control of, or that makes good sense to me. I'm going to use a rasp in this case, and so I'm going to need something to hold the work while I work on it. So I'm going to put it in a vise. I'm going to be working right here on each side of it. Now, I want the vise to hold it well enough that I am not getting a lot of movement. I want resistance. I want to be able to work it without the thing swaying back and forth, and just be free to work around it. So now let's look at the possible tools. I love a nice flat rasp, or a rasp that has both a flat surface and a curved surface on the other side. Now, if you can also get a nice flat one, this one is a combi rasp. The brand is Oriou, A-U-R-I-O-U. Sometimes they're a little hard to get, but if you can get this or an equivalent of this, maybe the Nicholson rasp will work very well. But with a rasp, you can't mess it up too fast. That's a good thing. And you can also, right now I'm in alignment with my work. I'm looking down at that line, and I'm watching the rasp work toward the line. And at first, I just want to make sure I am working to that line. And all right, so as soon as I get to that line, then I can start making some adjustments. And so right here at the bottom, I'm going to work this back up this way a little bit. And the reason I do that marking out's important, especially in sculpting. It shows me where I'm going, where I need to work, and it also can tell me where I've been, because the white line is gone. Evidently, I have been there. And I might be coming back to you, I don't know. But I'm starting to get a shape that I want, and I'm working toward, again, I'm working toward this shape here. It's kind of rounded. It's kind of curved up. So I've got some more rounding over to do. And I'm going to use, this is called a cabinet maker's rasp. in their scheme of things, it's a number 8 grain. It cuts pretty quick. And the teeth are coming in this direction. That means it cuts better when you work it down that way. So there you go. Now I'm going to do that little rounding up from the bottom. And I can look right here. I can look at one side, and it gives me an idea of how to work the other side. Is we need to do something up here. Now this is the part that is a cleat that will hold the table. We'll drill a hole here, and we'll have a screw go into the tabletop from 4 different legs. So that's why we have this, and this is a cleat because it goes it can go cross grain, and underneath a panel and try to hold it flat or to secure the panel. So you would call this a cleat, but it's also part of the leg. So what we want to do is get out our same. We'll get out our very same pattern there, and we'll lay out a little bit of a taper. So let's do that. Right here. And we're tapering it so that it has some style. Okay, remember, you are the sculptor, and so you are the one that has to give it style and substance. You're the designer. Let's see if I can get my 14 hands to work here. All right, so that didn't work out at all. Let's try it again. I am going to hold this down and make a line. Now, if I do the same thing on the other side, and I do it right, flip it over. Let's try that again. Yeah, or this is the side we want to take off, and take that off right there. And again, you can use a belt sander if you like. There are a lot of things you can do with that right there. But we just want to sand to that line, or to take the rasp and rasp it to that line. Either way, it's a braiding, a pretty safe way to go. If you got a nice sharp hand tool and you know how to use it, it is something very special. You can just shape away with that. Makes for some great work to be able to use this kind of a hand tool to advantage. Now, I've got a curve that's coming in like this. I think I want to take off a little more of that. Flatten the curve just a little. Yeah, it's starting to look right. Okay. like that. That's good. This one that we've already done, go back and look at it, it's very rounded over in here. So let's see if we can round this over a bit. So, and I'm going to leave some meat here because eventually I want to be able to get a little soft line to pop out. The soft line separates this surface from that surface. It's kind of where they come together. It's where they meet. They make a slight arris right there. Just something that looks like a line, and you can follow it on around. But I need to leave a place where I can have that. Now I'm going to use a router in a couple of places just to speed part of the rounding over process along, and it also will give me an indication of where these lines need to be. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. All right, that's pretty good right there. And let's see. We're going to need to do some rounding over down here. And let's use the router, and then we can come back and we can work on all of those lines, and I think you'll see how it all comes together and pops out. All right, I'm looking at both of my lines here. This one's a little lower, so I'm going to make a little bit of an adjustment. Always use your eyes. That's one of the best ways to do something I call reconciling, is to use your eyes. It'll tell you how close you are. Now, in this case, right now, I'm going to take this spoke shave, and I'm going to use it to start rounding over down to that line. See if I can make the line start popping out. Really what I'm trying to do is almost the same thing that the router did right in there. And see how easy it can be done? Come back here. And work this. Be careful you don't work it too hard. It's going to round over just a little bit right in there. I want to get rid of all of that. But thank goodness I caught and stopped myself in time. And so I'm going to pull this back this way. And this is to get some kind of balance, if you'll always be thoughtful and even draw in a center line, because you want to round over from the center line to whatever place you're going, and leave the center line until kind of the last thing. So I have left that there. There we go. We're still a little thick in there, so I need to work some right there. Take that down. We have some thickness, so let's get it out there where we can do it. It's always nice when you can do it. Let's take that thickness down. Tell you what, sometimes it's nice to be able to take a little measurement, and all measuring doesn't have to be done with a ruler. There is a lot of measuring it can be done very effectively with dividers. So I'm going to open up these dividers, and I want to get an idea right in here about where that line is. And yeah, that's going to be helpful. All right, so right now, looks like I'm pretty good on this side, and I need to go to there on this side. So let's yeah, we're getting there. Just got to work it. Work, work, work. But I'm working wood. That's a good thing. Or I wouldn't be a woodworker. Yeah, I think whoever does things well in life is the person who can make the best adjustments. When the plan is not working well, make an adjustment. It's like that, especially in sports. All right, now let's see if we can get our line to re-emerge about in there. Yeah, that's gonna be good. And looking at both sides at one time, it kind of helps me right here. That's good. I think we need to round this a little more right there. You know, it doesn't hurt to stop and feel of it. You can tell so much about sculpture with your sense of touch. And yeah, I almost got kicked out of an exhibit one time for fondling the furniture. Every time the security guard would move and wasn't securing the area that I was in, I would touch whatever it was I wanted to touch, and I guess it wasn't maybe the best thing to do in some ways, but other ways it sure did add a lot to my knowledge of what I was trying to do when I sculpted that piece. I sure did. All right, now I want to use a different rasp here. And this is more of a detailing rasp. This let's see what I can do right in there. And if you look at the mayhem of all these scratch marks and lines and things like that, you think, well, gosh, how is that ever going to look like anything? But you just keep working your plan, adjusting your plan, and eventually you can take it out to the landfill and burn it all, or you've got something that smiles at you. I'd prefer to think that we're going to get there and be able to make something that is going to smile at us. But we'll see. I've got a little tear out right there that's bothering me. I'm going to work on the other side of it. And if I work on the other side of it, I can see how much, this is starting to come back. I had a little tear out right here. But as I work the other side and this side, then whatever's left can hopefully start popping up and will be what I'm looking for. So, that's just a nice little ridge right there that you form. That the idea is to be able to separate the leg from the foot, at least in my mind. And I think it does that. There's a lot separated in my mind, as you probably know if you've watched me enough. Anybody that would inhale this much sawdust, there's got to be something kind of squirrely about them, I guess. And I've got some new scrapers. And these things are beasts. And you'll be hearing more about them. It's just real impressive to me. I'm able to remove a lot of material. And right now, I'm working at an angle to that line, leaving the white right there. The idea is to be able to form a new surface, leaving that line to pop out. So I am working it. That's good. And it cuts down on so much. I mean, you can do some wonderful shaping with it, but also cuts down on a lot of sanding, especially in the lower grits. Now, the way I'm using this is almost perpendicular to the surface. Okay. Well, that's nice. Now, I've got one with a lot of different curves on it. Yeah. This is now I've got one with a lot of different curves on it. And I can use these curves to raise the line. So if I use the curve along the line here, what I'm doing is I'm leaving the line itself to pop out. I'm kind of going down and leaving that line to pop out. So I'm kind of undercutting it a bit, if you get the idea, which works extremely well. Really the next step after we chase all those lines around to working here in the middle and trying to ferret in to the column itself, like I showed you on the other piece. So let's go to that now. I've put an F at the foot end. So as I put each of the legs in, the foot will go at this end, and I won't end up with them going the wrong way and having one that the sculpting doesn't fit on. Because I'll show you, the next thing is lining up this is the sculpted piece here, and then we're going to go to the next one, and I've got them numbered there. And we're going to work this one with the column. We're going to work it in the column, and we're going to continue working it in the column. This is the one we were working on here. And so this is the foot end. It goes here, and I'm lining up the top there, and I'm taking my pencil and I'm finding my round over line, and I'm just going to continue tracing it. And this is how deep we're going to come there, and then we're going to come back up here. So we want to round from the center all the way out to this point. Do the same thing, of course, on the other side. We got a nasty knot there. This got to be dealt with, but I'm going to come down. And if you drag your hand along, this has got a curve that'll help you copy the same radius, just like the router would. If you're using the router, the pilot will roll along here on this curve, and that's what'll give you the round over to fit the curve. So we've just kind of copied that with our finger. Now, so I want to be able to round this over and continue it right on out to that line. So to do that, I think we're in pretty good shape. And if I put my hole down there, now this is not a finished surface, so while I'm working this side, I'll have my hole down in place, and yeah, so it's not going anywhere. And again, I am going to try to use a center line to keep it symmetrical. And I've got to get rid of that ridge right there. Well, I'm going to introduce even another tool to show you that there are many ways to do this. Now, it's the same thing on the other side, of course, but what I want to do is take my scraper, and I'm using that concave side. Now, rest of this is just a whole lot of handwork and sanding, shaping and sanding, except for something that I think is really valuable. And that is, you can take this little bit of this curve here, and on this scraper and undercut just the slightest amount. You'll be forming just a really nice line right there. That little bit of undercut, I can feel it. Work them all. Make your lines, sand everything, scrape everything. You're gonna have a beautiful project. Next, we're gonna finish up the top. Join me.